moving on. This clip, I want to focus on the mark. M-A-R-K, M-O-B, mark of the beast. The chip, the implantable chip, which has also been called Angel ID. A number of names been applied to this heinous little device, which is about the size of a grain of rice. It is injectable. We've seen it coming for many, many, many years. And as I said, years before it showed up, some of the first victims of it will be those whom certain governments have the most control over. Military, PD, those in the agencies, NSA, CIA, so on and so forth. Also those incarcerated. Got a feel for them. The chip, or MOB, mark of the beast, this chip is the ultimate goal. It is in-game goal of INWO, the INWO group, NWO. And it is the quintessence, Revelation 13, 16 to 18. He calls us all small, great, rich, poor, and so forth, to take a mark in the right hand forehead. Now, this may also involve a laser imprint. More about that another time. Right now, I just want to deal with the implantable chip. It was originally called Angel ID when it first appeared on the scene mainstream several years ago. Developed by DSI, Digital Solutions Incorporated, out of Palm Beach, Florida. And it is, as you would imagine, or as many of you already know, it is basically, it's a computer chip inside of a piece of glass. Not just conventional glass, obviously. But it runs off the electrical current of the body, so it has an endless power supply. And once injected, removal is a whole other animal. We'll get into that, but not so easy a matter. It's like a lot of things. It's easy to do, not so easy to undo. This thing is deadly beyond words. Among others, they can manipulate and, at least for intervals of time, utterly control a person's behavior. And they do that via satellite transmissions, VLF, scattered sideband frequencies, the whole heart network. The point is they can transmit thoughts. And, of course, emotions go with thoughts. So the ways that they can influence an individual are many. And, unfortunately, the ways that they have been doing it on the hundreds of thousands, perhaps now millions of people who've been injected with this device, the ways that they influence them are not good. Now, the chip implantable at this time is not the mark of the beast itself. Okay? While it is an integral, an essential part of that system that you read about in Rev 13, 16, 18, it is not complete. Because to have signed oneself up to eternal darkness and worse, you'll have to know and swear allegiance to the image of the beast, the Antichrist, and that whole system, Babylonian system. And so that comes later. Again, there are huge numbers that have already been implanted, but they've not signed up for eternal damnation at this point. But they've taken a deadly serious step toward it and made themselves much easier targets for it. Because again, the thoughts and emotions are now subject to outside influences, and this has been proven repeatedly in myriads of laboratory tests on animals and, yes, on humans, and that is definitive hard science. Let me mention the beast in his image. I mentioned the beast. Let me touch on that for a moment. You read about the beast in his image repeatedly in the book of Revelation. The beast, one of the primary meanings of that is one of the world's most massive supercomputers. It's located, not surprisingly, in the heart of INWO country, Luxembourg, Brussels. As you may know, that was one of the three original countries in the original Roman Empire, and it was one of the first of the three countries in the revived Roman Empire, which you read about repeatedly in the Word, Daniel and Revelation, among others. One of the 3 core countries. Yeah. And so it was the first of 3 countries in the European Union, which is, of course, the revived Roman Empire. And that was completed back in 86 when they became a 10-nation confederacy, and then the word writes, of course, they will go global from there in its influence. The Beeks in Luxembourg, Brussels is actually an acronym, and I have seen pictures of this monstrosity. There is a huge bronze plaque on the side of a building. It is maybe 7 or 8 feet wide and 11 to 13 feet long. And on the side of it, in large capital letters, maybe 3 feet high, B period, E period, A period, S period, T period, BEAST is an acronym for the Brussels Electronics, Accounting, and Surveillance Terminal. Now, last intel I had on that, it was processing over 556 trillion CPS, calculations per second. So, for them to be able to track everything going on with every human on this earth is no major task. And he, the Antichrist, has to have complete control, of course, which means complete and total surveillance and tracking, hence the massive proliferation of the surveillance society. And the federal government has dumped billions, given billions, to states throughout the country to put up surveillance cameras, not surprisingly. Now, when you read about the mark in the book of Revelation, you find it repeatedly. The mark is an eternal, perpetual death sentence. And we find the mark in the book of Revelation, again, repeatedly. I believe that's Revelation chapter 13, 16 to 18, chapter 14, 9, 11, 15, verse 2, 16, verse 2, 19, verse 20, and chapter 20, verse 4. And I've heard people talk about it in their ignorance and sound like sheep, saying, well, it makes a lot of sense. Which it does, when you think about it and on the surface, the way they present it. Well, this will eliminate identity theft, no more cash, so no more strong-arm robbery. We'll even get rid of credit cards, so no more credit card fraud. See, this is the way they do things. Of course, one of the things they don't tell you, and some of this is bled out on the mainstream media, and that is that these processors that are in this implantable chip are rather easily hacked. The security is pathetic. And as you know, with the ever-evolving technology, hacking into systems is getting just nothing but easier. So, on this chip, though not on the chip necessarily, on the chip I believe it'll have codes in it where someone in a bank, they want your financial information. All they got to do is scan it, and they get a download of your financial information. Same thing in hospitals for your medical information and other vital personal info. But this information, okay, is really easily available to those who know how to access it. Competent hackers. And you don't even have to be some polished professional hacker. And that's the thing. So it's really dangerous in that regard as well. You're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about this chip, this implantable chip that is coming, especially. And this is why one of the big reasons there's such an overdrive right now to put a wrap on the global economy, global economic system. And we'll get into more detail about that later. Just wanted to give that information to you. And heads up, eyes open, because you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about it. Peace out.